Again, a little bit of an older movie, but as I always say, and I'll always continue to say, we all know that horror movies, for the most part, don't get the same type of love and attention from the media as essentially almost anything else. Even, I would say, even some dramas, comedies. Of course, nothing compares to action, especially superhero action. So, but hey, it's all good though. They're all good. I'm not trashing any of them. So, with that being said, this movie is available to watch on Tubi. Most of you are already familiar with Tubi. To those of you who are not, it's a website that has selected free movies and shows on there. You don't even have to have an account with it. You can just go to the website and just there's movies to watch. So now, granted, I will say, like I said, most of the movies that are on there, especially most of the horror movies, are independent, low budget, not popular, not really known. A lot of them weren't released in theaters. They might have had some, like the Know What You Did Last Summer or Urban Legend or stuff like that. Now, the ratings on this movie, a little bit mixed. Internet Movie Database, 55. Google users, 56. Letterboxd, 56. Rotten Tomatoes, 27. No surprise there. Rotten Tomatoes is always a tough one. Always a tough one. So here's a synopsis, and I'll read to you a couple different ones because it's worded a little bit different. And once you get at least two or three of them, you'll get the gist. A riveting roller coaster of suspense and twists is set in motion when two college girls become roommates and they make a pact to protect each other at all costs. It says pack. I think it was supposed to be packed, but I think you get that. This one, according to Internet Movie Database, the synopsis here. Two roommates with abusive men in their past consider murder as an option to help settle each other's problems. Now, without spoiling too much, I will say this. Now, here's what I'll say. And by the way, the cast includes Tracy Spiridakos as Haley, Katie Cassidy as Amanda, Donald Logue as Garrett, Adam DeMarco as Mark, and that's about it. So this kind of reminds me of, there's a movie that I talked about in another video called Girls Against Boys. And basically what that was a movie where two college-aged girls decided to go on a killing spree because they wanted to get revenge, especially on the men who wronged them. And so there was a lot of debate about, well, is this sexist or is this considered reverse misogyny? That's what the wording on there said. And they're like, well, if this was the other way around and it was men going around killing women, would this movie even make it? This movie almost is kind of similar to that, but in this case, there were a lot less people that got killed. I mean, there was only two. So one girl had an abusive father, and she wanted to get her friend to help her kill him, and he was set up and blah, blah. A number of things happened. I'm not going to spoil too much of it. So it's kind of that movie. And if I remember correctly, and I'm double checking it, I don't believe that this was in theaters. Apparently it was not. So this is a Tubi original. Or, actually, I don't know if it was a Tubi original. This had to have been directed video. They must have played it on TV somewhere first, and then it got here. So, right here. Amanda has a violent ex-boyfriend, Cameron. After her roommate, Natalie, goes missing, Haley moves in. When Cameron threatens Amanda, Haley kills him, and they bury his body in return for helping her. I'm sorry. Let me reread that. For some reason, I don't know what's wrong with me right now. Don't question it. Let me try that again. I'm sorry. Amanda has a violent ex-boyfriend named Cameron. After her roommate Natalie goes missing, Haley moves in. When Cameron threatens Amanda, Haley kills him and they bury his body. In return for helping her, Haley asks Amanda to assist in getting rid of her abusive father, Garrett. I'm sure that sounded a lot better. The movie is 95 minutes long. So, me personally, I would give the movie I'd probably give it about a 7. 6 or 7. I'd probably say 7 at most. I felt like the plot maybe could have been stronger, a little bit more extensive and expansive, but to me, this was another example of, this is not me saying this is my perspective. I think some women would view this as, okay, this is an example of exercising, something like girl power or whatnot, or something like that. Again, if this was the other way around, men going around killing women, this would be a whole new discussion. There would be a lot more controversy generated. It'd probably be on Yahoo News, TMZ, Insider, Hollywood, all that type of stuff. But let's see what some of the reviews had to say about this. I don't really see much under Google reviews now. Internet Movie Database gave it a 55%. Rotten Tomatoes was 27%. Let's see what Letterboxd had to say. One person said, lots of twists and turns in this one. The movie kept me guessing almost until the end, which rarely happens when I watch movies. The acting has room for improvement, but overall, this was a nice little movie. A couple of decisions that the main characters make no sense. But if they had gone to the police like they should, then this movie would have only been 25 minutes long. That's kind of a point there. Another person said, you know what? This movie actually did surprise me, and I like that. The lesbian couple is obviously doomed from the start to actually get out of this unscathed, but if you want to watch a pretty twisty thriller with women smooching in it, there are certainly worse options. To tell you the truth, there's part of me that kind of even forgot about that part because there was a lot more going on in the movie that was kind of more important that I was focused on. I'm at a campground, and the office has DVDs you can borrow, and I saw Katie Cassidy was in this, so I borrowed it expecting garbage, and it was actually a really good movie. I guess that's supposed to imply that this person thinks that Katie Cassidy is a garbage actress, but I don't know. I think she did pretty well in this, and I don't really know too much of her work. I believe she was in Taken. I believe that was her in there. Let's see what the reviews on Internet Movie Database had to say. Because Letterboxd, they only had a handful of them. Reviews? I'm not finding them right now for some reason. Oh, here we go. User reviews. 7 out of 10 says, not a bad thriller despite some of the drastically negative reviews. Seems like most of these reviews are people reviewing other reviews rather than the movie itself, so I'll take a minute to throw in my 2 cents. I definitely won't say it's the most original plot out there, and at a glance, it comes off sort of a Strangers on a Train meets Wild Things with a sprinkle of single white female. That said, it's actually a solid thriller with a solid cast and has enough twist to make it worthwhile and keep the audience guessing. The only place I think the movie fails is rushing into the murder plot before really giving the relationship and bonding between Amanda and Haley enough time to develop. And I don't necessarily mean more physical intimacy between the two, just more time spent getting to know each other and building trust in general to maybe help with why Amanda would go along with Haley's initial plan rather than calling the police. Or perhaps we needed a little more on the police ignoring Amanda previously and her reluctance to trust them. Either way, something was missing in the first act. Otherwise, I thought the pacing was fine. The movie does a good job of building tension, and the leads did an excellent job making their characters' emotional state believable. Trauma, fear, distrust. Overall, it was a good thriller and definitely worth a watch if you enjoy the genre. 8 out of 10 says, surprisingly good, not your usual thriller. This is not a run-of-the-mill thriller. There are some surprising twists and turns, and it is well-directed with a good pace and suitably mysterious atmosphere. The watchable cast includes Katie Cassidy of Arrow, who acts well, better than on some episodes of Arrow, and Tracy Spiridakis. I want to say that's how you pronounce her name. I tried my best with it. If I messed it up, I'm sorry. Of Revolution. Good acting performances, but not so great a story. I would agree with everybody who says that the movie isn't as bad as it's made out to be. I would also nod at those detracting from it. After all, why is this a straight-to-video release? The main fault lie in the basic plot. I think he meant main faults. Quite obviously, a girl like Amanda is bright and wouldn't be duped into going along with the flimsy motivation provided by the psychotic Haley. You can't go dumping a body on someone's property and expect the law to prosecute the person on that circumstantial evidence alone. And the abducted friend doesn't change that Haley is not to be trusted for a second. It's the biggest claptrap that the script is dishing in to keep the wheels moving forward, moving towards the next scenario, and Amanda, the theatrical audience would have felt, wouldn't have considered it for a second. So, mixed reviews on here, but again, that's why it's a 55%. So, obviously it implies not the very worst thing out there, but also not the very best thing out there. But based on that alone, I know some of it is a little bit spoiled in there, but I felt it was enjoyable. And I suggest if you're into this type of thing, so it's a thriller, drama, suspense. Check it out. It's available on Tubi. It's free. It's also free to watch on the Roku channel. Also free, as I've stated. So go ahead and check the movie out and let me know what you think.